If you are introspective, you're in a great position. You have an analytical mind, allows you to learn quickly. Your mind works in complex ways, so it can solve complex problems, which is great if you want to create something big, something impactful. Where there's light, there's a shadow. Your shadow will be about overthinking, indecisiveness, perfectionism, to make things more complicated than they are. So an example, as I'm that kind of guy, spending 4 hours choosing a price for a product or service, choosing a font for 2 hours, spending a day creating a colorway for your brand, or creating 1 page of sales copy. But you might create complex guidelines for your next day, all these routines, this highly optimized morning routine with 5, 6, 7 things that you took from Andrew Huberman. On other days, it can feel like you're just ticking off these boxes and still cannot really explain to someone what you even did on that day where you worked 12 hours. Right? And the exciting part of this is that potential, that when you do overcome this shadow, that you are truly unstoppable and you inevitably will create something that will serve this world greatly, and therefore you will be rewarded greatly. So here's exactly how you can become a man who does 10 times more in less time. Let's get into it. So the overall theme is called Simplify to Amplify. Simple guidelines allow for complex problem solving. Complex guidelines create stupid problem solving. This is a paradox. And let me mark one thing very clearly. It should be counterintuitive. It should feel uncomfortable. Almost as if you're doing the wrong things. This sort of urge to create more routines, to do more things, as if it's not enough. It should feel like that. It should be uncomfortable. That is the way you get to this unstoppable work ethic for you. So when we want to simplify, to amplify, first understand this. More of the same usually creates more of the same. Continuing this way of working at your business or at your job or whatever it is you're doing in your masculine journey, you're watching this video because there is a clear potential for improvement. And inherently, that means things need to change. If you continue this sort of urge for control and safety by holding on to your way of doing things, you will end up with more of the same. And so less change, less transformation. You will not get to this point where you can get done in 1 month what you do usually in 1 year. Surrender to the fact that you need to do something drastically different, something that should feel a little uncomfortable. Then here's the 2 things you need to do. Number 1, create space. So you might have a very complex routine, very complex way of planning your days. You might work with Notion or simply a notebook or whatever it is you're doing. The routines you have, the things you do, I want you to eradicate every single thing that doesn't clearly serve you. So if we take an example of a client, he had this very complex morning routine. He got up at 6 and then followed 7 steps just to get to the point where he could get to work. Already having lost a lot of capacity because he already made 7 decisions. When we had a closer look, it was only the gym, the morning workout, spiked his drive in the beginning of the day. Even getting up at 6 wasn't a part of that anymore. It wasn't something that truly served him. So he started getting up at 8, straight into the gym, took a shower, and he felt clear as day, fully motivated to get down to work. This saved a lot of his time and in itself already made his work a lot better. That's just routines. Then you also have the conversation of how you plan your days, right? Everybody is different, and for some people it doesn't work when we order our days chronologically. When you create, for example, 3 deep work sessions from 9 to 12, 1 to 4, and 5 to 8, let's say, it might create complexity for you to hold on to those time frames, because maybe you are a person who wants a task and then you focus on executing that task as fast as you can, ordering your work in terms of time or ordering your work in terms of tasks to complete. When you're going to mix them, you will overcomplicate. You will create so much details and things that you must follow, and it creates clutter in your brain. So to summarize, create space by simplifying the way you order your work, simply by answering the question, what is most simple? What is almost stupidly simple? And on top of that, if you're meditating and it just doesn't serve you, then for this season in your life, write it off. It doesn't mean that for your whole life you will not fulfill this meditation journey. Eradicate every single routine and thing you do and decision you have to make that doesn't completely serve your work ethic and performance. The more you can eliminate here, to the point, again, that it feels a little uncomfortable and as if you're letting go of some things that you should be doing, the better. Create as much space as possible. And then step number 2, very simply, surrender to the uneasiness of taking bold action. With the space you've created now for your work, value speed over complexity. For every task you have, create the minimal viable product. Let's say you're writing a sales copy. With good focus, the first draft you will create will already be 90% quality. The 2-3 hours that you spend after that is about the 3-4-5% improvement, and sometimes even making it worse as you get stuck in your thinking. But really, you're talking about percentages of improvement on the quality that you spend astronomically more time on. It isn't worth it. So focus on action, focus on the minimal viable product for each task, and value the speed in executing that. Get it done, move on to the next one. And why I say surrendering to this bold action is because the shadow of overthinking and perfectionism is about a form of control. You want to have the feeling that you are in control of the outcome, and you simply can't. So you must surrender to the uneasiness you feel when you stop at the minimal viable product, which will be goddamn good. Let go of the optimal way, the strive for perfection, as it will cost you 90% of your time just to improve and sometimes even make worse that minimal viable product that you created for that task in 10 minutes. The universe loves speed, and you should love it too. So if you put those steps together, it will look something like this. Let's say it's the evening now and I'm intending to make this shift happen tomorrow. I'm planning my day forward. I eradicated all the routines that are not essential to my performance, that are not serving me. I eliminated 4 or 5 of these routines that are just for this season right now, for high velocity action, are not important. They might come back to me. I've surrendered to that fact. I simply created 3 tasks that if I can finish them tomorrow, I will have an amazing day. I will have completed 3 tangible things that bring me noticeably forward on my journey. And so that is the only thing that's written there. The whole guideline is those 3 things. And so as the next day comes along, I wake up with my simplified routine. I don't start planning on how I'm gonna do it first. I simply start acting. I simply surrender to the fact that I want to get these 3 things done, and I start somewhere. And all the time I'm conscious. When I notice I'm getting stuck, overthinking, overcomplicating, taking too much time for a meaningless decision, or that I already have a minimal viable product and I'm overcomplicating it now, I simply finish it and move on. And within this mode of bold action, I feel a little uneasy at times, but I'm focusing on getting it done, getting those minimal viable products done, not caring about failing, simply caring about moving forward as efficiently as I can. Through action, the next step and the next step and the next step keep revealing themselves in a much more powerful and effective way than I could have done planning everything. This is true. This takes courage. It takes courage to surrender to that, to believe that it is exactly action that reveals the optimal, efficient, effective next step, rather than taking an hour or 2 to plan it all, and then feeling that you must adhere to all these limitations you created for yourself, creating stupid thinking, rather than the complex thinking that simple guidelines create. If you want to take it a step higher and leave zero uncertainty to you materializing your purpose, building the life that you want at the highest speed possible, then know that there's 2 spots open for the High Velocity Creation Program. If that sounds interesting to you, click on the link in the description. We'll hop on a call I'll help you move forward, and at the end we can see if we're a good fit to go on this journey together and make it happen for you. And for now, that's it. See you in the next one.